Hi, this is Linda Abraham from Exhibit.com with Ion Admissions. I'd like to share some thoughts with you today about Harvard Business School's Interview Reflections and the Harvard Interview. First of all, congratulations. I assume you're watching this because you have been invited to interview at Harvard, and that's great news. Secondly, I'd like to start by offering you a couple of resources that you may want to use in preparing both for your Harvard Business School interview and any other interviews that you may have. Exhibit.com has its MBA Interview feedback database, and you can go there to review reports of interview experiences from years past, going back to the late 1990s. And I think you can get a very good sense of what to expect in the interview itself. I also would invite you to share your interview experiences after you interview. 2, we have a special report. It's a free download on MBA interview preparation. I invite you to take advantage of that. And both the interview feedback database and the special report are free. Now, to the reflections themselves. You've had your interview, and the first thing I think you need to do after that interview is maybe take a walk, decompress, but then think about what went on in the interview. And I think there are 3 things you should focus on. 1, think about those responses that perhaps were not as clear as you wanted them to be. Perhaps your logic was a little fuzzy, maybe you just didn't quite hit the nail on the head. Jot it down. 2, think about those responses where you wanted to add something later and you just didn't think of it in the course of the interview. Jot it down. And 3, finally, think about those responses where you think you did a fantastic job. You aced it. You answered on point, you were articulate, you were succinct, you were organized in your thought process. Jot that down. That's number 1. Number 2, choose which elements you're going to focus on in your reflection. I would say focus on 1 and 2 primarily, but do include 3 as a close. You probably won't be able to include everything that you jotted down in your notes, so just choose those that you feel are most important. 3, you probably saw the the blog post where Dee Leopold, Harvard's admissions director, compared the interview reflections to an email and said, I don't want essays, no more essays, this is not an essay writing contest. I guarantee you it's also not an email writing contest. I think the point of the email metaphor is that Harvard, by inviting you to interview, is engaging you in a conversation on a one-on-one basis as a human being to a human being. And I think they want to continue that conversation. So you don't have to write a grandiose essay. You're not preaching from a pulpit. You are carrying on a conversation with one other human being. Write to that human being as you would in an email. You can use the second person, you can use the first person. Again, keep it personal, one-on-one. 4, Harvard values concision. Write succinctly. Enough said. Don't repeat your application. Don't repeat unnecessarily material from the interview. They heard it, they know it. And 5, be sure to thank them for their continued consideration, for their time. They are very hardworking, and human beings, they, like all human beings, appreciate appreciation. People like being appreciated. This is Linda Abraham with Ion Admissions. Thank you very much for listening.